I wanted to take this opportunity to say hi and let you know that pretty soon you're going to get a new single from me. It's called That's God. I wrote this one, and I wanted to take time to share with you, what inspired the song and where it came from, because it is pretty much my soul out on a page. So if you got a couple minutes, please let me share that with you, and I hope you like it. I've stepped outside and just been like, felt that warmth of the sun on your face. Seen the ocean, and just sat there on the sand and watched it go so far that you wonder where it ends, and the mountaintop, and seeing the wonder of the child. I realized that with my son. Just at that moment, when you'd given up hope, there it was, right in front of me. There was God. The point when I wrote this song, it was so sad. The economy. I mean, it affects everybody. And as I was going through the year, not just myself was affected, but the guys that worked for me. And one of my guys, he had just told me, and it was so sad. His wife had worked for 10 years in this big corporate office, and they had been saving for 10 years for her to start her own business. And it was at that point he had told me, well, she has to go back to work. I don't want to lose our home. We don't have the income. And they bet on me. And I felt like I was letting them down. It was really a down point for me. We had a string of Canada dates. We were driving, had a day off, and we went through the most beautiful mountain range. So we literally pulled the bus over and we started looking on the internet to find if there was a place to stay. My son was 5 months old, and it was that time where he's just laughing and he's focusing on you as you're, walking through the room, and he's just figuring out how to hold things in his hand. And I mean, a stick would entertain this kid for an hour. It's that magical time where it's like, wow, So I took him for a walk in a stroller, and as we're coming down a pathway, I saw this mountain. It was right there, man. I mean, it looked like you could reach out and touch it. It was just so huge. But if you looked at the top of it, it had snow on it. It was a snow-capped mountain. And I just kind of looked back to take, to grasp it, to take it all in. And that my son was in his little stroller off to my left, and I said, look, Noah, I'm like, that's God right there. Seeing the look on his face and just to be able to look at what he saw through his eyes. In that moment, it's just me and him and God. I had just told this story on stage about, I took my son for a walk and I saw the mountains. And I got back to the bus. It was really my keyboard player's idea. He's like, what you said today, we should write that. Have you ever seen the wonder in the eyes of a child, or felt the way a room lights up with this tiny little smile? Have you witnessed their amazement at the simplest of things? A stick, a piece of grass, a leaf, an ice cube. I mean, it's just like the greatest thing. I've been touched by all those things. Person that makes a difference, just being who they are, and someone who lends a helping hand, and someone who takes a minute to listen. And I'm like, that's God. It's a godly love. If you take the time to look around, you see it everywhere. It's right here all around us, even when you're not aware. Rings so true. And then the love, that perfect love. If you ever had a love that opens up your heart, selfless and encouraging to help you reach the stars. I wrote that one about my husband. Oh, I don't know if I can get through this one. He's a pretty awesome guy. Of course, I still have my woes and, struggles and that kind of stuff. But I'm also looking at it from a different perspective. There's a lot in store with the record, and I think that That's God is a great way to just kind of say, look at this, You got the same pair of eyes, seeing a totally different view. I did a radio visit. They're like, hey, can Jo Dee stop by the station? I got to the station and I was like, hey, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. The phone lines slammed. All the people that had seen me or followed me on Twitter in that area had called up and said, can she sing That's God? Can she sing That's God? Even from the first time I sang it. I don't know why it makes me cry. First time I sang it, I saw people in the front row crying, in the fifth row crying. We got standing ovations. This is baby Noah. This is what inspired me to write That's God. And boy, I hope the whole world can get what I had, which is a renewed passion, a new hope in my song.